Good morning, everyone. It is Monday morning and I am here around 6:30ish in the morning. I have a half-day meeting this morning. I am part of the curriculum team this summer that's going to be rewriting curriculum for English language arts. So we are meeting this morning to learn a little bits and pieces about the technology factor of it, because that's how we are going to be creating the curriculum, is through technology. So I am going to be setting up for my sub this morning. I don't really have a ton that's happening. Because we had PSSAs last week, I decided to hold off on any type of starting new units for writing and for reading. I think we had finished up probably about a week and a half before the PSSA, so we were just kind of doing some review stuff for PSSA, and now we can go ahead and start. But I don't want a sub to start my unit for me, and I love my subs. I just like to be there for when we do start units. So what I'm going to have the sub do is actually give a pre-assessment to the first two groups in the morning, and then I'll administer the next ones in the afternoon. And then what the pre-assessment is that I will be able to kind of get an idea of what is it that they already know about historical fiction. I might be shaking up some groups a little bit, so we'll see how everyone ends up doing on this pre-assessment. For writing, we're going to continue going on with our persuasive writing and our opinion writing. So that's something else that we're going to start this week, and I think I will be back for that. So I will be able to actually start their writing for them, which will be very nice. But I don't really have a ton for the sub today, other than just giving the pre-assessment during their group time. Once they're done with pre-assessment, I'm gonna let my kids go. They need to make sure that they get their work done, and for some reason I have a little bit of a feeling that they're gonna struggle getting their work done today. I don't know why, I just feel like they're gonna struggle. So I'm gonna give them a little bit extra time today, since they're not gonna be in the groups for the full 30 minutes like they're normally in, to be able to get their work done. So I'm gonna need to put some reminders on the board so that they remember exactly what it is that they need to be doing and get started for the day. I'm so excited. We actually have a 3.5 day week. 3.5 day, because we don't have spring break where I'm from. I don't think you guys knew that. So we don't get spring break here. There is no week-long break like I used to have when I was in kindergarten in Alabama. We actually get a Friday, and we were supposed to have the Monday off. So we get Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we have to come back to school on Monday because of our snow day that we had back in March. No big deal. I'm still excited for the 3-day weekend, and then Thursday is actually a half day. So the students are going to be with us half a day, and then the remainder of the half day is actually a professional development. So we have something that we are doing that day, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but we're doing something that day. So I need to get busy getting my stuff printed out for my sub, and hopefully clean up a little bit more of my mess. So I made pretty good timing this morning, because it's not even 7:30 yet, and I have everything done that I needed to get done for this morning at least. I'm not going to try to stress out about this afternoon. I'm going to worry about this morning at least. Like, that's my top priority right now. So I have my sub stuff ready, is all set to go. Here it is. Y'all, I can't talk this morning. Like, I'm really bad. So I have my sub plans here, my list here of my kids, and then I have the assessment that they're taking here. So all that's ready to go for the sub. I need to take that laptop with me. And so I showed you guys last week that I redid my library. And those are my stickers. Look how pretty they look. I just love look, and I didn't even notice. Did some of you catch that this one was upside down? I didn't even notice it was upside down. Ah, and they all go falling down, and I still didn't get those. Maybe I can see if my friend would find some for me. Anyways, so yeah, so now all I have to do are these books. So these are some realistic fiction. We have some science fiction, informational, graphic novels. What are these? Fantasy, biographies, autobiographies, and traditional literature. So we have those books that only need to get their labels put on them, and then they can go get put up. So I need to cut all these labels out so that I can also have them for later reference time. But I was very proud. I am pretty sure that I have a conference this morning at 8 o'clock, which is okay because at 9 o'clock is when I need to have the conference that I have to be at the meeting for this morning. So it actually works out really perfect that I don't have to like rush out of here to get there by 8 o'clock. So that's nice. I have on the board kind of written up telling the kids just to not touch the library yet. Don't touch the books on the counter just yet. Reminding them of their targets that they have to complete and some things that some of the kids need to finish. So I just wrote this little not fancy reminder, and then I have their morning message here, which is really exciting, and it kind of goes into that we're starting historical fiction, but I don't tell them that we're starting historical fiction. I tell them that we're starting a new unit and it incorporates informational and fiction. Can you guess what it is? So have them write it on a sticky note, see if they can guess it. So that's what I got this morning. I'm having a really hard time trying to talk this morning. Like, I just can't get the words out of my mouth. I can't express the things that I'm wanting to say, which is no bueno. I'm hoping that I can kind of get myself together before my meeting this morning so that I can articulate some of the things that I need to say. We'll see how that goes. I will show you guys my little outfit. I have these pants, which are, I always get my pants from J. Crew. I absolutely love the pants from J. Crew. They fit great for me. They last really well. So these are J. Crew pants, and I think these are called Frankie. And they're in a navy blue, which was really cute. The shirt that I'm wearing has a high front and then it goes down low in the very back, which is cute. It has kind of the almost ruffled effect, but it's not really ruffled. I don't know how else to explain it. The sleeves have a little ruffle at the bottom, but they never make it look like that because they always scrunch up on me, which is fine. It's not a big deal. And then I got this from, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm just gonna spell it. S-H-E-I-N, Shine or Shein. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's one of those. But that's how you spell it. S-H-E-I-N. S-H-E-I-N. So they're super, super, super cheap, which is really nice. So I like this shirt. This was cute, and I got this last year. My jacket was something that I got a couple of years ago from my husband, and this is a J. Crew jacket. I love me some J. Crew, but this is just a J. Crew jacket. I love it because it has the little gold buttons on it, which I think is really super cute. And it's just a lightweight jacket, which is nice for like spring. So that's my outfit. Not too casual, but also not too fancy. Oh, I can't do fancy. I just can't. I have to be comfortable when I teach. I have to move when I teach. All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is now the end of the day. I was not able to kind of talk to you guys at all. So I came in, got here during my lunchtime, right after our meeting this morning, which was pretty productive. We had a curriculum meeting and we talked a lot about what was our statement, what was our focus. They showed us a lot of the technology pieces of how we're going to be collaborating with other teachers within our district to actually write the curriculum. And that's something that's going to be happening in June. So I have to put those dates into my planner this afternoon. Unfortunately, I need to go in home and print out the rest of my planner and put it inside because I only have up to a certain month. So I need to go add those this afternoon and make sure I put those in. Once that was done, me and the other teacher that went to the curriculum meeting, we went to Chick-fil-A. So we got something to eat, came back, had a discussion during that time. I taught writing, which we're continuing with the persuasive writing, and I went on to Storyworks, and Storyworks, guys, is fantastic. If your school or district does not have Storyworks, try to figure out, see who you can talk to, try to throw a pitch to your principal, try to throw a pitch to your reading specialist, because it is phenomenal. So Storyworks has articles, and inside one of those articles there's like every time they send them out every 2 months. And they have a spot for debate. So they'll put up a topic, and the topic is technology or are screens interfering with your friendships? So the kids were able to read it. They discussed it with partners today. It gave them some spot to be able to kind of brainstorm certain things and see if it's really affecting their relationships or not. And I started thinking, and I'm like, I don't think like screens would affect my relationships with people. I think it's me that affects my relationships with people, because I am such a homebody, and it's not that I want to be in front of a screen all day long. That's not the case. It's the fact that I would rather just be at home doing nothing than going out doing stuff. So it's really interesting, and it really kind of got us thinking about how technology is affecting us and our friendships with actual people. So they were able to do that today. And then I had some girls who were working on their candy passion project, and they were making gummy bears at the end of the day, and they were videotaping themselves because they're doing a video that's going to also go into their PowerPoint presentation that they're presenting to everyone. They need to make more gummy bears because we have a lot of kids, and they're also going to look at how they're going to improvise some of those gummy bears, which is really cool. So I'm going to bring in some actual gummy bears that you would purchase at the store. They're going to do a compare and contrast, and then they're going to see what they can do to actually improve themselves. So as they were going through this process, I'm asking them questions about some of the things that they were noticing as they were going about it. Tomorrow when they come in, they are going to have to write a reflection on it and then see what are some things what are some ways in which they can improve. So we're going to talk about some of those things with those two girls tomorrow. The kids were really excited. They just kept smelling on the candy, and it just smelled delicious in here. And now I'm pretty much ready to go home. It is absolutely gorgeous outside, and I would love to get outside just to be able to walk around with my boys. I have a little bit of a mess, but I'm not too stressed out about it. I do need to go home and finish planning because I did not get a lot of that done this weekend. I had full intentions of coming here on Sunday, but because it was so beautiful outside, we played in the creek, we went for a walk, we rode the four-wheeler. It was just absolutely perfect and beautiful outside, and I was not having coming to school. So because of that, I do need to go home and actually sit down and try to plan out some of the things that I'm going to be doing for the historical fiction unit. I have given them their pre-assessment already, so I'm going to take those home. I'm going to grade those on my little comfy couch with my pajamas on, and then I will pretty much see you guys in the morning. Bye. So I did forget to mention that I had a meeting with my principal today to talk a little bit more about our MAC team, and I know a lot of you are so curious about it, and thank you so much for all of your very, very sweet congratulations. I so appreciate it. So with my MAC team, we're having to take a lot of things into consideration. So what we ended up doing is me and my other two partner teachers, we sat down and we just created a document inside of Google Drive. And so we started kind of thinking, what are some things that I know that we are going to have to discuss? Y'all, everything from how are we going to handle certain behaviors? How are we going to line them up? What are going to be some of the routines and procedures that we have? Where are we going to have them put their belongings? How are we going to have them go about, and who's going to be teaching what to whom? What is the schedule going to end up looking like? And then how are specials going to be run? How are we doing content? How are we doing reading and language arts, and all of those things that we could have possibly thought of? We just kind of create a bullet list, and as we go through and we sit down, which every day I think we're sitting down during our special time, and we're just kind of thinking, okay, well, these are the things that we need to kind of talk about, and we sit down and we kind of just start jotting things down. It's a great way for us to kind of be a little bit more organized about our meetings and our times together, so that we can try to get out as much information as possible. So we had a meeting with my principal today, and we talked a little bit about what cycles will end up looking like as far as like content area. So our kids are going to be on a 3-cycle run. So every year they're going to get another piece of that content. And what's really nice is the way that our content works out is that the kids will have one of each. So they'll end up having one huge content area that will have all of 4th, 5th, and 6th grade standards of life science, and then they'll have 4th, 5th, and 6th for economics. And that will be all in 1 year. So what'll be nice too on top of that is that we're gonna try to integrate a lot of project-based learning with it, and integrating a lot of those subjects with those 2 different areas, and we can really, really dig deep into those areas, which will be fantastic. And I think the kids will really enjoy some of those things. So we've already started planning a little bit, because next year we're going to start with life science and economics, that we're going to do planting. So we're going to have, we've already gotten permission to be able to plant a garden, so we're already in the works of planning some of those project-based learnings, but then also looking at how are we going to handle behaviors. So we've created a 4-house system, and I went through and I kind of redid all the names that I did from this year, only because I realized that I had used Latin for each of the names, and I wanted it to just be a little bit different, and I really liked using just the different languages. So I went online, sat down with my paper, my mother-in-law even helped me, and I kind of just jotted down all of the different types of words that I really wanted my kid, things that my kids show. You know, they're determined, they're kind, they have friendship, they have courage, things that are like that, like those words. And then I started looking them up online to figure out what are some of the different languages. So we came up with 4 of them, and I will definitely share those with you guys a little bit later on. I'm hoping that we will get some other things together so that I can show them to you as well. So all of that stuff is in the works, but I did want to share that with you, that I did have a meeting with him, and that how we are kind of taking this and just planning it out. So we're just kind of dumping it and creating this big huge bullet page that we're adding in all of our information as we're discussing it, and we're typing it in, and all of us have access to it. So as we're thinking of more things, we're just kind of typing those in so that we'll have more things to be able to discuss, which is really, really nice. So we have a meeting on Monday with parents to be able to talk about the MAC team and what is our vision of this MAC team and what are we hoping to be able to accomplish. And yes, we're going to do content, yes, we're going to do all these things, but the really big and most powerful piece of all of this is that we're going to have your kids for 3 years, which we're going to love those kids, and we're going to, I mean, cherish them to like our own. I mean, I cherish them like my own in 1 year. Imagine in 3 years, I'm really gonna be like a hot mess whenever I'm making them leave. Like, that's gonna be awful. And I know some of you were really, really confused about like, how are you gonna have 6th graders for 3 years? Well, initially, next year I won't. So once I have those 6th graders, they'll just leave me after that year. So the kids that I will have for 3 years, if I did have some of my kids join next year as well, I would have had those kids for 3 years. So I only keep, you know, that 4th will stay with me for 3 years. So it'll take a couple of years to get them up and running, but I will have each of the groups for 3 years, just not next year or the year after that. So it won't be until the actual 3rd year that I've been doing it that I would have had those kids for 3 years in a row. I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Just wanted to clarify that. I still have yet to touch all of the books that are on my back counter. Those are gonna have to wait until tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna hope to try to get those done tomorrow morning, but we will see. I do think that I'm gonna start the historical fiction unit with Henry's Freedom Box. And I know so many people have already seen this book, and it is a phenomenal book. But because we have already read it within writing, the kids are already a little bit familiar with it. So introducing a new topic with it, for them to be able to go back and, you know, refresh their brains about the book. I will show you guys some of the anchor charts that I'm planning on incorporating tomorrow. So see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday morning, 6:30, and I am in my classroom this morning. I have a couple of things that I really need to make sure that I get done. One, I need to finish cutting out and labeling the rest of my library, because this morning, since I wasn't here yesterday, I want to be able to talk to my students a little bit about why we've set up the library, or why I have set up the library this way. So that is what I want to do. I want to make sure that I get those labels put in. I also want to make sure that I put in the labels for my like craft bins. I created those labels. I just need to finish cutting them out and putting those in there. And then I also need to get ready with some anchor charts this morning for my small groups. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking, because hopefully I can get a lot of this done. What's really nice is that I don't have a meeting this morning, which is nice. So that means I get an extra like 40 minutes in there that I don't typically get. So that's a good thing. I also made my breakfast. I have yogurt. I like Greek yogurt with granola and cinnamon. So I'm very excited about my breakfast this morning. Finally finished putting all of my books with their labels in their spaces. The next little project that I have, well, I actually have 2 projects that I'm doing now. So the next little project that I'm doing is I've come up with an idea to create really cute labels for these bins. So I talked about that in my bins, and I don't remember if I did this on my video or if I did it on Instagram. I know I for sure did it on Instagram. But the bins, the purpose of the bins is to put highlighted books. Either books that have a series, for example, I know a ton of kids have the 39 Clues series. So bins will have series of books, or they'll be highlighted books that I feel like in that genre I really wanted to like highlight for that month. Put those in there, so it'll be like a highlight bin, or it'll be a series bin, or it can be a book recommendation bin. So I'm gonna create some labels to put in for those. The second thing that I really want to do, and I'm gonna put my husband on this job, is to create a barrier back here, because it drives me crazy that my books get pushed back, and the kids, like, they don't do it on purpose. I totally get, I'm just that OCD person, but they push the books back and they start falling over, etc., etc. So what I have come up with is to create a just put a piece of wood here, and then it'll have like little legs that'll come out on either end, so it will prevent the books from having to push all the way back. Hopefully I'll be able to get that done by this week. We'll see if he has the time to be able to do it, but that would be really nice, so I don't have to stress out about my books like this anymore. I like putting my books in these only because it is easier. It doesn't, I don't have a ton of those bookshelves everywhere, which is also nice, and it's storage that is in pretty much every single room. So no matter what room that I'm going to be going to next year, I will still have this little setup. So yes, that is exactly what I've done. I have really enjoyed having my colors in here, because I can pinpoint whenever one of them does not belong in a certain spot, which is really nice. Okay, so now this morning I'm going to be able to talk to my kids about their books and what each of the colors represent. So we'll have that discussion this morning, and I'm so glad that that's finally behind me. The library is by far one of the biggest struggles for me, and it's also one of the most time consuming, I feel like, is to maintain your classroom library. I went through and I purged a ton of books that I was just like, you know what, listen, you and I both know that these kids are not going to read books that look like they were born in the 1920s. If they are discolored or they have a very odd like cover, they're not going to use them. They don't use them. So I started going through purging a lot of those books and making sure that I kind of keep it up to date for my kids, because they like to read the things that are new and out. So that is going to be one of my bigger things that I'm going to continue working on, especially over the summer, is just making sure that my library is like up to date. All right, that is done. Now I need to do some anchor charts, my morning message. Whew, I'm already tired. All right, let's get busy. Alright, I have my anchor chart done. This is the one that has a lot of the information. I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to actually show the kids this information today. I may not even show it to them today. I haven't quite decided yet. I want to see kind of where the conversation goes about historical fiction. But here's the game plan in general. So I'm going to begin it by rereading this book. And I say reread because I have read this book at the beginning of the year, Henry's Freedom Box, and we read it with plot. So we talked about the elements of plot, the parts of plot, and we identified those parts within this text. So I'm going to reread this text, and then we're going to go through, because the kids already are very familiar with it, we're going to go through and just discuss what are some of the elements that you are seeing, what are some of the things that you are identifying. And they have this little anchor chart that I'm gonna kind of write down some of their ideas with. What are some of the things that they're noticing about historical fiction in that text? And then afterwards, we're gonna start discussing it. And I'm gonna say, guys, this is what historical fiction is. And inside of their data binders, which is now online, they have it within their Google Drive account. In their data binders, they have a spot to be able to write down some of the characteristics of historical fiction. I want them to write it down. I'll probably go back and check it, and then this will be up in my room somewhere for them to be able to reference to and kind of self-check themselves as far as what they wrote down in their data binders for the characteristics of historical fiction. That's kind of where we're just going to go today, is only talking about just some of those characteristics, making sure that they have a really good understanding of what makes historical fiction. Okay, so I was a little bit hesitant this week, and I didn't know if I for real wanted to tackle that big hot mess. But I think I'm gonna do it because I really want to get my stuff extremely organized before I start moving it. I feel like if it's organized in its containers and everything is labeled, then it's gonna be easier to find places to put things. The problem with kindergarten is that I was trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to keep and some of the things that I needed to get rid of. And because when I was in kindergarten, I hoarded and I kept a bunch of stuff, I still need to go through and clean a lot of that out. So now that I feel really good about my library, and when I go to start packing up my library, I can put those genres into certain boxes and it'll be easier to move them. I want to do the same thing with my containers. So I'm going to work on that big closet that has all of my monthly theme items, and then I need to finish up with this closet that has a lot of my crafts and supplies. And that's the game plan. And then next week I'm going to tackle my read aloud books and show you guys exactly how I organize some of my read aloud books. The bell is about to ring, so my kids are going to start coming in. I am excited to get started with the day. We're going to be working on historical fiction, one of my absolute favorite genres. And yeah, it's going to be a great day. It's a good Tuesday. Only 1.5 more days until my little 3-day weekend, which I'm so excited about. It is finally the end of the day, and I have finally been able to like breathe a little bit. It's been a very busy day today. I feel like ever since we have announced our MAC team, we've been doing a lot of meeting and just a lot of talking, and that's really all I feel like I've been doing lately. But that's okay. We're getting a lot accomplished and a lot is happening. My books are so nice. Some of the little boogers did push them in, and like I said, I'm working on a solution for that because this is starting to really drive me crazy. But I did want to mention that if you had already purchased the labels that look like this, if you've purchased the editable labels already, there was a link that was not working early on, so be sure to go back through and re-download that so that you can get the link with the font so that you can fix the font to go along with it. But I will leave that link down below so that you guys can go and check out that in my store. So if you are wanting to reorganize some of your library, you're not really happy with the way that you have your library organized right now, try this out. It works so nicely, especially if you're in the upper grades. But even if you're in the lower grades, in this product, you actually get the colored labels with nothing on it, and you can actually edit it any way that you want to edit it. And this is the exact same system that I used in kindergarten, but the colors just meant different seasons or different authors. So I used the exact same system in kindergarten, it was just not genre based. But this gets them talking a little bit more about genres. They're getting to understanding a little bit more, and they are really taking ownership in with the 40 book challenge, which I think is really important as well. So definitely go through and check it out. I need to put away a bunch of paperwork, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I was going to go home. I was not going to stay. But I have a meeting tomorrow morning, and then I have a meeting for my post-observation with my principal tomorrow. So I'm not gonna have a ton of time to be able to get a lot of my work done. So I need to go ahead and get some of my stuff done now so that I am not stressing about it tomorrow. I've ended up having a really busy week, especially with having a parent presentation on Monday about our MAC team and presenting that to families so that they can decide whether or not they wanna opt their child in. So with that happening, I have been a little bit busier this week than what I was last week. Plus, testing is over. So what I'm gonna do right now, right before I get ready to head out, I wanna stick up the little heads that we did during, what were they called? During testing time. I wanna stick up their heads that they finished up with their Scholastic books outside in the hallway. So I'm gonna go stick those out there and get those pinned up and then have them out on display because they're very cute. Oh, you were still recording as you were looking up at the ceiling. Okay, those are posted up outside in the hallway. I am pretty much ready to go. I do have a small pile of papers that I need to either hang up or I need the kids to finish. So I'm gonna wait to do those tomorrow morning. I'm not gonna stress about it now. My library looks good. My papers are cleaned up over here. Look how nice that looks. My table looks lovely. And everything else for the most part has been done. I have clipped together their work for today. So here's kind of what I do. I'm not sure if I even talked about it, but what I do is I take the work from today that they had to do and I clip it together. A lot of it's just more of a completion type work. It's nothing that I actually grade, although I have had a couple of things that I did want to assess that some of the kids are doing. So I have that on there. If the kids didn't finish it, I put a circle. They have to make it up for makeup work. And then I have the one for today clipped together for me to be able to check it off. And I will do that in the morning because a lot of the kids will actually submit it in the morning because they take it home for homework. And I'm totally fine with that. We tell our kids, listen, hey, I get it. Sometimes you get distracted. Sometimes you don't get everything done. I get that way sometimes. At work, I may get distracted and I may end up talking with some people, but by golly George, I have to get my job done. I have to get my work done. So I end up taking things home so that I can get my work done. Well, we try to put that onto the kids as well. We say, listen, we understand that sometimes you get distracted. Now, if this is a continuous thing, then we're gonna have issues. But take it home, do it for homework. Be responsible about the stuff that you were supposed to get done. Be responsible for it. So some of the kids will actually take home their work if they were not able to get it done, whether they were at like a band thing, they had something else that was going on, fine, take it home, do it for homework, I will check it in the morning. So that's kind of my philosophy there. So I have that there. I'm gonna check it in the morning to see as far as whether or not they had their work completed. And I do have a couple that I have to go through and actually assess and grade and put inside of their portfolio. So I will do that later on. But for the most part, everything is done. I have my stuff ready for my meeting in the morning, which is really just her progress report. And then I have my meeting with my principal in the afternoon, which I do need to go through and finish up just a couple of questions that I did not answer on my OASIS, like post-observation checklist / grading / I have to fill out a bunch of questions thing. I'm gonna go home, hopefully be able to see my kids for a little while, get them ready for bed, and then I'll finish that up for my principal this afternoon in bed, hopefully watching TV. Hopefully I won't go to sleep. Hopefully I can get it done. Either way, it's gonna get done. I have that saying, one way or another, everything always gets done. I don't know how, but it gets done. So I'm not gonna stress out about it. Why stress out about it when I know for a fact that I'm gonna get it done one way or another? Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday morning and I am sitting in my classroom trying to finish up some work that I was not able to get done yesterday. I am having like the worst, do you guys know that cartoon where his eyes were just like really dragging, like he had those really big bags? It was a little puppy dog. That's who I feel like today. I woke up with very swollen eyes, a little bit of a headache, and I'm sure it's allergies. So that is kind of how my whole hot mess of a mess is happening today, and I'm just gonna be okay with it. I'm gonna embrace my bags because I'm old and I'm okay with it. So I am finishing up. I have my computer in front of me because I need to finish up everything for my meeting this afternoon with my principal. I only have about two more questions. I have 2 more questions left. So 2 more questions and then I will be finished and I can submit this and be done. So I'm very excited about that. Once I finish up with that, then I also went and stopped and got some double-sided sticky tape, so I'll be able to add in some of the labels there. I'm really happy that I stayed and was able to get a lot of my papers put away because it makes me feel so much better, so much better. That is probably one of the bigger differences from going from kindergarten to 4th grade, is just the amount of paperwork. I didn't have as many papers in kindergarten just because a lot of the things that we were doing was very hands-on. And in 4th grade, I mean, I have to have something to show that they're able to apply their knowledge. So yes, that means more paperwork. So I am gonna get busy, finish up these last couple of questions, drink some of my coffee, maybe take some Advil, and hope that this morning will go off without a hitch. We'll see. I feel like I'm looking like a crazy mess this morning, and I'm just gonna have to be okay with it. Okay, so I have organized out some papers. These are the papers right here that I need to just go through and just make like a checklist to double check that they have all turned in some of those assignments. If they haven't, then I'm gonna create a little IMA list and let them know, this little list right here, and let them know that they are missing this assignment. So this is just kind of ways that I keep my kids on top of it, especially with having 2 different classes, and the classes are not like, you know, I'm gonna have a morning group and I'm gonna have the afternoon group, because the kids kind of just come in however they want to come in. So this is a way for me to be able to stay organized and on top of who is turning in things and who's not turning in things. I now have my labels. These are the labels that I have for my crafts. So I made a version that is green, and those are for the games that I showed you last week in my vlog. And then this week I did a blue, and I can't remember if I showed you guys that. But the blue ones are going to be for these. So this is what the blue ones are for. And these are all of like my craft ones. Like I have beads, I have bells, binding combs, letter cutouts, but there's just a lot of little things. See, there's an example already up there, a calendar one. These are just all of my little crafts that I've had since kindergarten that I need to get a little bit better organized this year. I don't know what to do with some of these. Like I had these mats from kindergarten, so when the kids were painting or doing some type of craft, they could spread out on the floor and they could use some of these mats so they wouldn't make a mess on the floor, and we could easily clean these off. So I have those mats. I still have huge brown paper bags that I don't know what to do with. And then I have some of their little things in there that I need to get organized. But this closet also needs to get all fixed up. Hopefully with the labels, and then just kind of cleaning out a couple odds and ends, like these little things that are out just hanging out in there. It'll look a little bit better afterwards. So that's what I'm going to try to do this morning, and then hopefully tackle a little bit of my other closets. It may end up being that I just tackle like a box at a time, because it is a huge amount of mess. Huge amount of mess. So I may have to do just like a box at a time and be able to kind of wean through and look at what's going on in some of those boxes. So I will be sharing with you what is inside of those crazy boxes, because I have a ton of junk in those boxes. So I'm gonna cut out these labels and hopefully get these put on. I have a meeting, I think, at 8 o'clock this morning, or I'm supposed to have a meeting at 8 o'clock this morning, which is in like 2 minutes. So I need to let you guys go. Okay, so it is lunchtime, and I actually ended up staying in my classroom for lunch today. Had my lunch. I've been working on a few papers that I've been getting organized and put away at the moment, and just doing some things on my computer as far as just getting a few things graded. Really quick, wanted to tell you before kids start knocking down my door, because they need to come and make up some work for me, that we had a lesson today, and the lesson that I'm doing it for both groups, because I'm more just introducing historical fiction as a genre to them yesterday and then today. Today, what we did is we talked a little bit about yesterday how some of the genres relate a lot with historical fiction, and sometimes we can get it confused with historical fiction. So I found one of these online, and I just literally looked up genre characteristics. This is one of the things that popped up in Google, so I printed it out. And what's nice is that it gives you a ton of genres, gives you the definition, then it also gives you the elements that are found, and it gives you some suggestions for books that go along with this genre. But that elements was what we really wanted to focus on. So the kids got to have an app, and it's called the Venn diagram app, and what's cool is that they get to create Venn diagrams on it. So they created one that has 3, and they are comparing historical fiction with realistic fiction, and then also biographies. So they're comparing the 3, they're having to look for the found elements, and then they're putting those in and moving them around so that they can see what is it that there are similar, and then what is it that's different about those genres, what makes it special. That's kind of what we did today. They're doing it with partners. They've really enjoyed having that discussion time. I don't think that we do that enough with our kids, is giving them the opportunity to just be able to discuss things with each other. So that's what they've been doing. They've been doing a really great job with it. I'm going to continue to do it this afternoon. Right after lunch, I'm leading into writing, so I will update you guys with what we are doing in our writing time. I did get the majority of these cut. I'm not all the way done. Hopefully I'll have some time during my second break, but I have to meet with my principal on my post observation, so we'll end up seeing how that goes. So that's what I'm gonna do. Cue the kids, gotta go. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, the last day of the week for us, because we have tomorrow off, and today is a half day, which is even more exciting. I know the kids are going to be excited about it, and I think today what we're going to do is just allow them to be able to finish up on some of the work that they have. They have a math project that they're doing right now, so we're going to let them do that, and I think we would like to try to finish our read aloud book, which is phenomenal. Scar Island, guys. If you have not read Scar Island, definitely read it, because it is so good. Now, I will go ahead and tell you that there are some things that you have to bleep out or just replace it with other words like I do, but this book is so phenomenal. The kids are loving it. They're really into it. I mean, it's something for when, you know, like you have a really good read aloud when the kids are really quiet and they just want, they're listening to every single word that you're saying, and they want you to keep reading, and you know, they're shushing people that are like whispering or talking, and every time you do kind of pause, they start chiming in, and they're wanting to tell you all kinds of things and everything that they're thinking in their head. So that's when you know you have a really good read aloud, which is nice. I'm glad that they're enjoying the book. I think we might try to do that right after, at the very end of the day, we have a meeting, and then we get to work with our teams for the remainder in the afternoon. So we have to prepare for our presentation on Monday, since we're not going to be here tomorrow. We need to make sure that we have our presentation for our families on Monday all set to go. My portion of the presentation is specifically going to be on project-based learning, and what project-based learning is, how are we going to be incorporating it into the classroom to really give their kids some very authentic experiences. So that is what I'm going to be talking with them about. Hopefully it all goes really well. My battery's about to die, so I need to go and get some coffee and change this battery, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, so let's talk observation really quick before I get into cleaning and getting ready for the day. So I had my post observation yesterday with my principal, and the observation went really well. He said that he enjoyed a lot of the things that I was doing, having the kids being able to stand up and really articulate their learning and to kind of guide the discussion between them, having the kids collaborate. My principal's huge with collaborating. Like, he really wants to see kids talking. He wants to see them in partners and discussing and asking, you know, well, why do you believe this? Do you agree with your partner? Having them really be able to think about their own learning was huge for him, and I did incorporate a lot of that. And I don't know if you guys remember, on my first observation I didn't quite have a ton of that, so ever since that very first observation I've tried extra hard to incorporate that into every single lesson that I'm doing, not just my observation lesson, but in every lesson that I'm doing. And as a teacher, I can see that that has really changed my classroom, is being able to incorporate so much more of my kids being able to talk and discuss and to disagree with each other and to figure out how to provide evidence with one another and to be able to articulate their actual thinking to the entire class and not to just a partner, is really powerful and extremely important. I even told you guys at the beginning of this vlog, and I think it was at the beginning of the vlog, that I am now having kids take attendance, and I'm having kids do things that are routines of the classroom that I'm doing. But why is it that I'm doing it? Because it's not just my classroom, it's my students' room, and they need to be able to take some ownership and understand that, oh, I can do this. When, you know, even if Mrs. Spackman isn't in the room, I know how to do this. We know how to run our own classroom, because they do. They know exactly what to do. I even ask them when they get into a line, hey guys, what do you do? And I look at the person at the front of the line. I said, you tell me when you think you're ready. And he'll look at them and they'll do a call and response, and then that person will say, I don't know. And I'm like, really? You think that they're okay? You tell me whether or not they're okay. I want to know, what are you thinking right now? Why are you thinking that they're doing a great job? What are the expectations that I have for everyone in this classroom when we go out into the hallway? So being able to talk about some of those things and really make them think about whether or not it is the way that it needs to be is truly important. And it's changing my classroom like crazy, and I absolutely love it. And I'm very excited to be able to incorporate a lot of this into my Mac team next year, which is going to be phenomenal. So we talked a little bit about that, and guys, every single time, you cannot get your feelings hurt, okay? You really can't. You need to go in with an eye of, how am I going to become a better teacher? Okay, I know the things that I'm doing that are right. Even if my principal may think, you know, may not see those all the time, I know some of the things that I'm doing that are right. But you cannot go in there thinking that you don't have anything to fix. You always have something to fix. So please don't go in there thinking, you know, oh, they're gonna tell me everything's perfect. No, they're not. That is not their job. Their job is not to tell you that you are absolutely perfect and baby, you don't have anything to fix. If they were doing that to you, they're doing you an in-service, a disservice, in-service. So they're not doing what is best for you as a teacher. And you need to be aware of and be able to sit back and reflect on your own teaching and say, okay, how am I going to make this better? What are some things that I can do? Even with our student teacher that we have now, yesterday she had like a marathon of a like observation. Her professor came in for 3 hours to observe her, which was crazy. But then at the end of it, she said, well, he picked apart like the fact that I say shh a lot. And I said, I mean, and that's sometimes, like, I didn't realize that I said okay a lot. Okay. Like, but those are things that we need to know about ourselves. Because if we don't know that, how are we going to fix it? How are we going to become better? You need to go in this with an eye of, how am I going to become a better teacher? Yes, they're going to give you some really great things, but they're also going to give you some things that you're going to have to fix. And the biggest thing that he told me, for me, where he would like to see me go as a teacher, is to incorporate higher thinking with technology. And I know this, guys. I told him, it's like, I will be the first one to admit that technology has not been the easiest for me this year. I was like, I became very overwhelmed at the beginning of the year with all of the apps that were on the iPad, and I finally had to step back and say, you know what? I can't do all of this. I cannot overwhelm myself and try to think that I have to use every single iPad or app that is out on this iPad. If I do that, I'm overwhelming myself, and then I'm overwhelming my students, because we both can't get really good at something when we have 10 or 15 things that we're trying to get really good at. Pick one little thing to get really good at. And I told them, I said, right now I wanted to get good at Schoology, and I wanted to get good at Google Classroom. And when I felt like I had that, then I was going to start incorporating some of that higher thinking later on next year. But that wasn't going to be something that I was going to focus myself on this year, because I just couldn't. I really needed to focus on 4th grade. I needed to focus on the curriculum and making sure that I knew my routines, my procedures, how I was teaching my students, and then I would be able to go on and move on after that. And he totally respected that. But overall, the lesson went really well. And I knew that the lesson went really well. Like I told you guys, if he was concerned about something, and this goes for any principal, if they're truly, truly, truly concerned about something, they're not going to wait until your post-observation meeting. They're going to come to you that day or the next day. They're not going to wait. They're going to come to you. And that is only right. Like if I was doing something that was really, really bad, I would want to know immediately so that I could fix it as a teacher. So when you go to these post observations, please don't go in thinking everything's good. Oh, they better not tell me this. They better not tell me that. Well, why not? Because that's how you are going to get better. That's how you are going to improve your instruction. That's how you are going to grow. So think about it like that. And go in positive, go in accepting some of that feedback and really asking some of those questions. Well, what are some things that I could do? What are some apps that maybe I could use that has some of that higher thinking? Or what are some ideas that maybe you have that you've seen? Or who can I go to that you have seen that already is using this and doing this in their classroom so that I can learn from them? Because I'm not a perfect teacher. I don't expect to be a perfect teacher. I will strive for perfection, but I know that I will always fall just a little bit short of it, no matter how hard I try. So there's my little speech, my little talk for this video. The observation went really well. I wasn't very concerned about it. I felt my lesson did go very well. And even if he was to come into a lesson like yesterday, I had collaboration, I had kids working in partners, I had them discussing, I had them using technology. I was walking around, sitting down, asking questions, getting them to really debate and think about some of the things that they were doing. So he could have come in during any of my lessons, even if it wasn't one that was just a planned out observation. He could have come in during one that wasn't planned, and I still would have been doing exactly what I was doing that day with him. So being sure that you're incorporating it into your everyday teaching is also really important, because that's also how you grow. You don't want to just do it just for an observation. You want to do it because you know that that's best, what is best for kids, and you want to give that to them. So here's my little speech. I don't have a ton to do today because I think she really wants to let the kids finish their projects, and I'm cool with that. I'm like, hey, we can let them finish their projects, then they can work on passion projects because it's a half day. It's not like we have a full day. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna take out some of the drawers and actually start working on some of those today. So I need to really, really get some of those things done. I also need to create a list of some of these to make because I don't have them all. And let me show you my partner stuff. Okay. All right, her box is gonna have to go. Y'all, look at her math stuff. It's phenomenal. Look at all these. This is all goal work for the kids. And she's not done. Okay. So here is my closet. But do you see, like, this one doesn't have a label. That one, I needed another one for stamps because apparently I have like 500,000 stamps. This one needs a label. But overall, it looks really nice. It's a little bit more organized. I did clean out in between some of these, the bigger ones, and I put them up here because I don't quite know what to do with them. I need to find a bigger bucket for them, and I need to get one of those. So I need to write that down on my planner so that I can remember to do that this weekend. But again, like, some of these don't have any kind of labels, so I just have to kind of go through. And then all this stuff needs to get cleaned out. Just to note, if you do magnets in May, I always did magnets in May for kindergarten. See these things. These little things could be made into robots, which is so, so cool. So the kids would actually, I had it as a center where they would create little robots with these tins. So now I have them and I don't want to get rid of them, because I went through the whole process of trying to, like, clean all this part out so it wasn't like a sharp edge. And yeah, so oh well. So yes, but that is my closet now. It looks actually pretty organized. It's not too bad, but this closet was probably never one of the worst closets. The closet that I did The closet that I did the other week during PSSAs, that was a bad closet. That was a really bad one. And the one that I'm about to do is probably really bad as well. Because there's too much stuff in it. So let's go dig into that closet, shall we? Yikes. You see what I mean? Like, it's just a ton of stuff. And I'm a little bit of a hoarder and I don't want to get rid of some of this stuff. For instance, my rice. I don't want to get rid of my rice because my rice was for a lesson and I don't want to have to keep going back and buying more rice. Why do I need to do that? And I don't want to do that. So I have like 3 bags of rice. So here's what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking. I just need to do it, right? I just need to go ahead and bite the bullet and just take out my drawers. And that's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna do it. Here we go. Cheer me on. Ah! Okay, really quick fun lesson if you are in kindergarten or if you want to do this as an indoor recess, because my kids loved it as an indoor recess. There was a huge blackbird that just like went right across my windows. Freaky. When we started talking about patterns and being able to look at like adding numbers, we used these and I created like hopscotch, so they had their little patterns. So there was like 2 and then maybe 1 and 2 and then 3. So it was just different ways to be able to arrange. Yeah, it was an arranging numbers lesson that I had to do. But I did it with these and I made them really big and the kids loved them. So now I've kept them and now we use it as hopscotch. Like holy moly on like all the novelty stuff that I have. But it's so cute. Okay, you want to see something really cool? Hold on. Let's just turn you this way so that I can have ample room to show you how cool this is. Okay, backstory really quick. I'm like right in front of the window and I always get self-conscious when I'm right in front of the window. So backstory really quick. When I was in college, we had to do these lessons for reading and the lessons we were teaching in front of the class. So they wanted it to be interactive and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I saw something and I was like, I can totally do this. And so I created this huge, and we based it off of, we created this huge like interactive sheet, if you will. And it is based off of the cartoon, or not the cartoon, it's based off of the book of If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. He's so cute. Here it is. Isn't he adorable? Okay, and so then we also had like on little pieces of paper where the kids would stuff it. So you give him certain things and they would have to retell it. But here he is. He's precious. He has little feet and stuff at the bottom too. Here, let me see if I can show that. You see his little feet at the bottom? So he's just holding his very giant cookie. Oh my gosh, I love him so much. I can't get rid of him. I used him in kindergarten. I would probably never use him in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. However, he is so cute and I love him so much. I can't get rid of him. So I basically like cut all these out and y'all, like this is all glued. It's just glued. Like I did no sewing of any sort. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember watching me back when I first did some of my older vlogs, and it's so funny that I'm now like pulling all this stuff out, and I think this is probably why I was doing it, because I started watching a lot of my older vlogs one night and just kind of reminiscing when I first started like YouTube and how awful I pretty much was. I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with things and I'm not perfect when it comes to like filming videos and things like that for you guys, but I'm like nowhere near what I used to be like when I first started filming them. I've learned things along the way, and that's kind of another thing with doing some of these videos. I'm learning things, but it's nice to be able to go back and like reflect on some of the things that I did do. Well, in one of them, I created this little lesson for my kids, and it is, ooh, they're little butterflies, which I just found a clip art online, and then I put words that I wanted my kids to practice. So CVC words, CCVC words, all those kinds. And I had them like on the carpet all over the place, and I created teams. And they had, I don't know if you have seen the game with the elephant, the one that blows the butterflies. That's kind of where I got it from, but I can't blow the butterflies everywhere. But idea from it, that blows the butterflies everywhere. And I threw the butterflies all over the floor, and the kids had those little nets, and they would have to go and catch the butterfly that had that word. So I would see the word, and they would go and catch it, and whoever caught it would get a point, and we would just play that game. But these were like little fun games that I just made, and the kids loved them, absolutely loved them. So I also keep a ton of dress-up clothes, and I do have a dress-up clothes in another closet, which is gonna have to come to another day. But like, and I know this is my robe from when I graduated University of Montebello, but it's a great like robe for judge, like debates, judge, which we're gonna end up doing government and history my third year, and we want to create like a government in the classroom for our PBL, which will be so cool. Very excited about that, and we'll need this. I think I need to start with just the buckets. So that's what I'm gonna do. All this stuff is gonna get put back, and then I'm gonna sort through that once I have my buckets a little bit more cleaned out and I can actually fit more stuff inside of it. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Let's move some buckets. So these are 4-gallon containers. And I have 2 different types because I couldn't find the other type when I went to go back to purchase more, which is always a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay. I'm not gonna stress out about it. It was fine. But these are Sterilite ones that have the big, huge, like heavy duty snap on each of the sides, which is really nice because things don't fall out as easily in these buckets than they would in the cheaper ones. Yes, they are a little bit pricier, but also like I didn't buy them all in one shot. I went little by little and purchased them and collected them over the years. So, or maybe like as I started thinking, hey, I want to start doing these buckets for each month. Great, well, I went and maybe bought it for that month. So I would only buy one a month until I finally had my collection all complete. So just think of it like that. Now some of them have multiple collections, and then there's some of them that were like phonological games and things like that. So I have to kind of go through some of those. So the idea here is that I'm wanting to wean out a lot of the things that I have inside of it. I don't know if you heard in one of the buckets that I was like flipping around, it has a bunch of loose things in it that can get thrown away, that I just don't need to keep anymore because I'm not in kindergarten anymore, and I need to just kind of let things go. And as much as I love me some kindergarten, I gotta let it go. Hopefully I can share with you some of the things that I do have in some of the buckets to help give you some ideas if you're in some of the primary grades of what you could be doing in the classroom. So what is this one? Let's open this one first. It's like Christmas. I don't remember what's in these buckets. First, our friggin' folders. Why? Why, Bridget? I have been needing these forever. Ugh. Okay, this bucket doesn't have anything in it. There are mirrors. Do you want to see my camera setup? There it is. There's my camera. Hi. On this little gorilla looking thing. These mirrors, and a lot of the times I did activities with these mirrors where the words, we would flip them and the kids would have to put the mirror off to the side and they would have to read the word on their mirror correctly and then write it down. So it was just like a write the room activity that they got to do, and they've always enjoyed doing some of these. So I had a ton of these mirrors. Another thing that was really important, especially with some of my intervention kids when I was in kindergarten, was really having them look at how they are moving their mouths. So really exaggerating that and having them look to see if they're doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. And that was another reason why I used to love to have a ton of mirrors in the classroom so that the kids could be able to see that. So I need to find a new home for these mirrors. So I have one empty bucket. Woo, this is going great. This one, not so empty. So this is a Thanksgiving bucket, or I guess a November bucket. So this is a template for a person, I guess a pilgrim. Like I have a ton of these in here. Look at that. No purpose of me having them in here. So I'm gonna keep one, throw the rest away. Then I have these, which I don't think I'm gonna get rid of these, because this was one that I taught then and now. So we got to look at the differences, because that was the standard, being able to look at the differences between back then and things now. And we did an entire lesson on that. Empty box. I am throwing that away. See, this is what I mean by a ton of each kind. Like, why do I have all these? I don't need them. I'm gonna keep the one that says turkey template, and then I'm throwing the rest away. We created a huge map, and these were all the little pieces of the map, and it was just the map, the way the Mayflower had traveled across the scene. So we kept this. I'm keeping that. I'm not throwing that away. This was a math game, Raking It Up, that I had made. And the kids would roll the dice and they would uncover them, and whoever, and I had little like leaf stickers that I had found. I didn't take the sticker part off, but they got to put the leaves on top of them, so they were raking leaves. Get it? It's cute. And you can find little rakes too, which is adorable. See, here are all my books. I'm keeping these. I'm not throwing. Like, look at that. These are math. So you match the tally marks to the number. These are the cups that we did for the Thanksgiving mats. Oh my goodness gracious. Maybe I'm in over my head. This was, I think, a math game, but you could do it for either one, to be honest. So each of these has words. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it has the picture and then it has the word here, and these were words that we had all discussed already. Has a little, sorry, has a little pumpkin, says the word pumpkin to the little pumpkin, and they would have this little card to help them with the language, and it says, I know pumpkin is longer than feast because it has less letters. So it's getting them used to that vocabulary and getting them talking with that. And that's kind of this activity and why we used it. So it worked out really well. Guys, these are awesome. Amazing little containers. Always keep like a bag of these inside of your classroom, because these things will change your world as far as like organizing things. Phenomenal, phenomenal little cups. And they have lids, which is even better, especially if you're in kindergarten. Okay, all my magnet stuff is falling out. Why is math stuff in here? Okay. Have money. This is what happens when you deal with magnets. We made little egg maracas 1 year. No, we did it for 2 years. I love these. So I'm realizing that I'm not going to be able to like walk you guys through every single one of these buckets, because that would take me forever, and this video would end up being about 5 hours long. So that's not going to be a possibility, but I will show you a couple of other things that I have done. So I had these little pictures of things that we had already gone over previously, and the kids had to, with the partners, sort it on whether it was magnetic or not magnetic. So that was just another little fun activity that they got to do, and that was again that way of just getting kids to be collaborative and to be talking and discussing things with one another, and you not always being the one person that is coming up with everything. So then the kids got to like share out what it was that they had put in each of the sides. So I'm gonna stick these back in this box, and I've gotten the magnets nice and hopefully a little bit more cleaned up at this point, so it's better than nothing. So I'm gonna clip these together and then put these inside this box. And then this box is almost pretty much cleaned up. I have to go through all the other ones, and I hope to show you guys what it looks like once it's all nice and clean. I think next week we are finding out which rooms that we will be moving to, so that'll be interesting because he just announced the people that are moving as far as like teams, as vertical teams. Let me show you what I did to my closet because I think it looks so good. I ended up cleaning out all of my things inside of my buckets, and really my buckets didn't need a ton of cleaning out. Wow, that is squeaky. My buckets didn't need a ton of cleaning out. It was more I just needed to make sure that there wasn't like stuff everywhere, and I also needed to put labels. Now I am missing like 3 labels for my buckets, which I do need to go and make, but I'm not going to make that until next week because I'm just ready to go home. Let me just be honest. So here's what it looks like now. Now look at it. There's nothing falling out, thank goodness. And then these I did on like half sheets. So there's kind of the number of the month and then the actual word for that month, and I labeled them out that way. So there's the top. I put a couple more down here because I had a ton. These are like extra baskets that I have, and those were the foam squares that I showed you guys earlier. And then these are very durable cardboard, and I don't want to give these away because we do some STEM projects on these where they need a flat surface, and this is what the kids use. And then these are some more like empty buckets too. Those are just some flat things that I used. Like this one has what does it have in here? Scrapbook paper, and then this one is something that I used for holidays around the world. And then down here I have all the rice and the hot, what are those called? Hot tamales or something like that. In here, these are all of my books on CD, and there's extra chalk there too. So much better. Although now I still have all of this stuff that I have not quite figured out where it needs to go, or I haven't just sorted it. Wow, it's squeaky. So now that part is done. I feel a little bit better with getting everything semi-organized. I do need to still make a ton of labels, and I need to do some more planning for next week as far as historical fiction. My kids did really well with their Venn diagram today because it was half a day. We didn't do a ton. I honestly just put up a list of everybody's stuff that I need. So they had more of a catch-up day where they were just able to work on things and be able to get things finished. And that was really about it. And I do have a ton of stuff on my table over here. I have all this stuff that I need to get put away. I'm not dealing with that until next week. And I did get this little area cleaned up too because there was a ton of stuff everywhere over here. So now it's all nice cleaned up, which is really nice. Makes me happy. So these are still clean. So that is about it. I am ready to go. I'm not sure that I will be talking with you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. I will be at home since we do not have school. It is Good Friday. So look at that, it's red. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, if I'm gonna vlog or not. I haven't quite decided yet. But if I don't, guys, I really hope that you are having a very wonderful weekend. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps out this video, helps out the channel. So please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. And subscribe if you haven't already for more videos on organization and just curriculum and teaching in general. Thank you so much for watching my videos, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye!